Hello, everyone, and welcome to our full moon ceremony tonight. Tonight, we honor the sun in the sign of Aries and the moon in its opposite sign, Libra. And this Libra-Aries polarity asks us to find a balance between being assertive, which is Aries, and being tactful, which is Libra. A balance between self and other, and a balance between independent action, which is Aries, and cooperative effort, which is Libra. In other words, can we ask for what we need, but do it with a loving heart? When we think about ourselves and what we need, can we remember to also think of the other and the impact we might have upon them? And can we join forces and cooperatively work together to manifest what we are working towards? These are the challenges for this polarity this month. So you might just keep this in mind as you go through the month and see how well you're doing at balancing these two disparate energies. They're not easy energies to balance. But before we go deeper into these two signs, I'd like to take a few minutes to discuss the important astrological events that are taking place this month. We touched on it a bit last month, but because it seems to be so important, I'd like to go into it a bit more. The astrologers that I follow all predict that this is a pivotal year in human evolution. There are so many powerful changes taking place in the sky that some have said that this may be the beginning of the major shift that many have predicted, the coming of the Aquarian age. Some of the following information has come from the website of Wolfram and Sappho, two astrologers that I follow. The two major transits going on right now are Saturn moving into the sign of Pisces, and Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius. We know that whenever a planet changes signs, it indicates a shift in the energy. So let's talk first about Saturn in Pisces. In the simplest form, Saturn represents the outside world, and Pisces represents the inner world. And together they ask a simple question. Have you looked inside lately? The spiritual path is the journey from the external world to the inner world. Saturn in Pisces contains an invitation to harmonize the material focus of Saturn and the spiritual focus of Pisces. In order to do this, we must cultivate the practice of going within to find the deepest, innermost parts of ourselves. This requires that we slow down and turn our attention to our inner life. We must quiet the mind so that in the stillness, we can hear the still small voice of our souls. Saturn is concerned with achieving outcomes in the outer world. However, Pisces knows that there are certain experiences in life that you cannot control. Saturn and Pisces work in harmony when they can learn that they must let go of what they cannot control and accept life as it is. Simple, right? Let's move on now to Pluto in Aquarius. This transit will be with us for the next 21 years until 2044. So its impact is going to be felt for a very long time. Pluto in Aquarius is providing the first glimpse of freedom and of new potentials for a more authentic future. Consider these inspirations as dipping your toe into the waters of new potentials. Simply take note of moments of inspiration and ask yourself, how does it feel to be inspired. Pluto in Aquarius is an invitation, a demanding invitation to be inspired for greater freedom and a more authentic life. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the new season and the new energies. And of course, I'd like to begin with my favorite poem that I read every year at this time because it welcomes springtime. It's called Spring Cleaning by Miriam Dayak. Time for tulips, worms, resurrection. The tulips open and close, like breathing wings, testing the possibility of spring. Time for dawn to lick out the last of that rich, dark bowl of night and bleed her own colors into the world. Branches that were bare just last week shoot volleys of blossoms in the sun. The green wood on the apple tree takes off like an arrow into the sky. Even old beams in the house begin to softly sing of leaves and the fresh arc of wind. Time to take a spade and shove sharply with your heel in its old rubber boot. Turn over your life. See what survived. Shake out the bugs. Get some air in the roots. Throw out piles of papers, unfinished projects like layers of old mulch. In the morning, your heart is still a cupped leaf holding dew. If you can match that stillness and look into the sweet water of your own heart, you may catch the wild promise, a goddess just waiting, waking the magic of your own rebirth. What would that mean to turn over your life? To imagine your own rebirth? Those are good questions for us to ponder this month. And the energy of Aries will help us with that question. And it doesn't mean, of course, that you have to turn over your entire life or any part of it if you don't wish to. But Aries gives us that energy to examine and then decide, are there parts of my life that need to be turned over, that need some fresh air, that need to be aired out or let go of? Aries is a fire sign, so it contains a lot of will and power. Whatever it seeks to initiate will be filled with the energy of will. The question is, how do we use this powerful will energy? Remember that there is always choice. The energy itself does not determine how it's used. We determine that. So the question becomes, do I use all of my personality, my ego energy to forge ahead with determination and discipline to achieve what I desire for myself? Or do I raise that energy up to a higher level and use that will and power to initiate something that will help uplift humanity and serve the greater good? As we know, every year the sun moves into the sign of Aries around the time of the spring equinox. So springtime and Aries both carry that same kind of initiating energy. This is the energy of risk, of daring, of pioneering into the unknown. It's the principle that urges us to unfold. It's about freedom, independence, forward movement. Aries is the most potent of all of the fire signs because it's the first sign in the zodiac. It's the beginning of our new zodiacal year. And all beginnings in a new cycle have the energy of initiating. Something wants to begin in Aries. Something started. We're at this threshold moment where something wants to emerge. John O'Donohue speaks to this very eloquently. He says this, quote, "At any time, but I would say especially at this Aries moment, you can ask yourself, At which threshold am I now standing? At this time in my life, what am I leaving? Where am I about to enter? What is preventing me from crossing my next threshold? What gift would enable me to do it? A threshold is not a simple boundary. It's a frontier that divides two different territories, rhythms, and atmospheres. Indeed, it is a lovely testimony to the fullness and integrity of an experience or a stage of life that it intensifies towards the real end into a real frontier that cannot be crossed without the heart being passionately engaged and woken up. At this threshold, a great complexity of emotion comes alive. Confusion, fear, excitement, sadness, hope. This is one of the reasons that such vital crossings are always clothed in ritual. It is wise in your own life to be able to recognize and acknowledge the key thresholds, to take your time to feel all the varieties of presence that accrue there, to listen inward with complete attention until you hear that inner voice calling you forward. The time has come to cross, end quote. This is our month to cross, so you might want to ponder the Aries energies from this perspective. What am I willing to cross? Aries also has warrior energy because one of its rulers is Mars, the god of war. And the lower expression of this energy says, ready, fire, aim, because it can be impulsive and aggressive and thoughtless. It doesn't think before acting, so there's no awareness of the impact of its actions. In a positive expression, it can be seen to be a destroying agent, helping to break up obstacles in the way of the soul's purpose. On the level of the soul, the ruler is Mercury, the messenger of the gods. While Mars will activate the emotional body located in the solar plexus, Mercury will stimulate the mental body, our thinking mind. And it's interesting because Aries rules the mind and the head, as each sign rules a body part. So taking the higher road, our mantra must become, think first, then act. This is called by the Buddhists right action. As we gain control of our mental bodies, our thoughts, and our emotional bodies, our reactiveness, we clear out a space for the light to enter. We open ourselves to a greater level of expansion. Then our higher mind or our soul can infuse us with its wisdom, with its higher ideas, divine thoughts that we can then use to help uplift our planet and all the kingdoms of nature. We essentially resurrect our mind. And when our minds become clear and our emotions pacified, elevated insights can then come forth. Now let's talk briefly about Libra. Libra is about relationship with self and with the other. It's about equilibrium, balancing both the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine. It's about blending the I with the we. Aries is masculine energy expressing power. Libra's feminine energy expressing love. Venus is one of its rulers. So how can we express powerful love? Aries wants to take a stand, wants to take risks. Libra wants peace, fairness, equality, beauty, truth, This month, we are called to be both brave and compassionate. You might consider where you need to be more assertive using the Aries energy, and where you need to be more accommodating using the Libra energy. Where do you take a stand, Aries? And where are you called to bend, Libra? When Aries the warrior marries Libra the peacemaker, he conquers the self to cooperate with the other. The Aries-Libra polarity always reminds us that we have to balance initiative, courage, and self-reliance with teamwork, collaboration, and fairness. Now, I'd like to speak for a bit about the upcoming 3 festivals of spring, as they are called in the esoteric philosophy. Aries is the first of these 3 festivals. In the ancient wisdom teachings, we're told that these 3 festivals in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini are the 3 most powerful full moons of the year. And each year during these full moons, we are gifted with an especially powerful downpouring of love, light, and power. This first festival is sometimes called the Festival of Easter, partly because it falls during the Easter interval, but also because in the esoteric philosophy, the focus is on the principle of resurrection. Alice Bailey, in her book From Bethlehem to Calvary, explains it this way, quote, "The festival of Easter symbolizes the spiritual possibilities inherent in each of us as we begin to awaken to the Christ presence in our own heart and life. Resurrection, as esotericists define it, is not related to the raising of the dead, but it does represent the passage from the death of self-absorption to the life of unselfish love. It's a transition from the darkness of individualism and separativeness to the light of universal spirit, from falsehood to truth, from slavery of the world to the liberty of the eternal. The journey from darkness to light, from the imprisonment of the body to a state of pure being, is the path of resurrection. And it is not a one-time happening of the physical body arising from the grave, but it is continually the potential of each hour, each minute, to be born anew, to move on, to let go of the past and choose the future. After the quiet of winter, Aries springs forth, bringing new hope, new life, and invigorating all the kingdoms of nature," end quote. So what is being asked of us at this powerful full moon? I think we are asked to be open and receptive to this Christ-like love, the Christ within each of us. This festival asks us to celebrate our inherent interconnection, to realize as fully as we can that we are, in truth, never separate from anyone else. It is a celebration which renews us, connects us so that we may evolve into a brotherhood and sisterhood of nations. It is not external. This energy of Christ-like love is inherent in everyone. So how do we foster and grow that energy of unconditional love? Through an attitude of goodwill, wishing everyone well, through hearts open in compassion to ourselves and others, through sharing what we know and giving what we can. Aries is the Christ light, representing renewal, a bursting forth into greater light. Before we begin our meditation, which I realize I should more accurately call it a visualization, I want to mention something that I've been meaning to for some time. I realize that not everyone is at ease with visualizing. Some of us feel things, some of us just sense things, but however you receive information is okay. And maybe you don't receive anything at all, and that's okay too. Just know that if you intend it, it is there. So if I ask you to imagine a brilliant ball of light above your head and you don't see it or feel it or sense it, just say to yourself, I intend it to be there, and then trust that it is so. You can choose to believe it's there. So let us begin. Let's begin by closing our eyes and focusing gently on your breathing. Noticing that with every in-breath and out-breath, your body becomes more and more relaxed. And as you exhale, release any tension that might still be residing in your body. Do this for the next few minutes, just gently inhaling and exhaling, relaxing and releasing. Now, with a more focused attention, send the breath into your emotional body in the area of your solar plexus. And imagine, sense, or feel the emotions become still and calm, like a lake with no ripples. Finally, send the breath to the busy mind and ask that the mind become quiet and receptive as we proceed with our visualization. Now, I'd like you to imagine, sense, or feel a radiant ball of light sitting right above your head. This is the light of your soul. Imagine now that the crown chakra opens and allows that light to travel down through each chakra into the center of the earth. Feel your energy become solid and grounded as it connects to the mother. Let us focus our attention now on the Ajna center, the point right between the eyebrows. Allow the breath to travel from this point between the eyebrows into the center of your head, and then send the breath upward to the soul and beyond. The light of the soul is now traveling upward to the spiritual realms. So try this breathing for just the next few minutes. Inward from the eyebrows, into the center of the head, and upward to the soul. Hold your intention now to be aligned and connected to heaven and earth. And know that you now have direct access to your higher wisdom, but also that you are fully tethered to the mother. Let us now send our invocative appeal upward to the great ones, to the spiritual realms. Let us ask to be clear and open channels for the downpouring of Christ-like love. See if you can sense or feel or just imagine that this powerful love energy is traveling downward to settle in your heart. And feel your heart expand as it receives the sacred gift. It's a stimulating energy, activating and bringing to greater life the Christ-like energy already inherent in you. Feel this energy as it infuses your entire being, filling every cell in your body with the light of the Christ. Imagine yourself now as a radiant being of light. Imagine yourself walking through your day, radiating this light, touching everything you come in contact with this light. Watch as this light transforms everything it touches. Now imagine this light spreading throughout the planet, encircling the earth with its love, light, and power. Visualize this light as a healing force for all of humanity and all the kingdoms of nature, mineral, plant, and animal. And sit now for just a few minutes, just acknowledging your own divinity, your own radiant light. Let us give thanks now for this special moment, this festival of Easter, of resurrection and renewal. Let us bless whatever is wanting to come forth within us this next month. And let us bless our courage to bring it forth, our daring. Let us renew our minds that they may be more perfect vessels for the soul's illumination. Let everything within us be resurrected, be made new, that we might be of greater service. And so it is. So I'd like to close with a poem called A Radiance Sutra for Spring, translated by Lauren Roche. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body and the space between all bodies. Beloved, listen. Find that exuberant vibration rising new in every moment, humming in your secret places, resounding through the channels of delight, and know you are flooded by it always. Float with the sound. Melt with it into divine silence. The sacred power of space will carry you into the dancing, radiant emptiness that is the source of all. The ocean of sound is inviting you into its spacious embrace, calling you home. Namaste, friends. Thank you for your presence. And just a reminder that next month is the Festival of the Buddha, called the Wesak Festival. And that's the most powerful full moon of the year. So I hope you will join us. And remember that the exact moment of the full moon is tonight at 9:34 p.m., which is why we started at 8 instead of 7:30. So you would be all primed for this full moon moment. So if you care to, you could stay in meditation and experience that special moment.